This is Bob. He likes to explore the world and jump around. He occasionally bounces around too, or finds these mysterious objects that are floating in the air for some reason. Very suspicious. They do give him special powers though, which is cool. But there's only one problem. Bob seems to be dying a lot. Like that one time when he got melted by acid, or this other time when he got cut by a moving saw blade, or this saw blade, and that one too. Wow, that's a lot of saw blades. Anyway, I've been working on this little platformer game for over a month now. The map is getting pretty big, but it's not done yet. So let's get back to work. Okay, first of all, I need to fix the trees in the background because right now they're just not moving and it's really weird. What I need is something called a parallax background. It's pretty simple. Basically, the background is split up into layers and the layers move at different speeds, which creates the illusion of depth. Obviously, I have no idea what I'm doing. So, you know what that means. So I did some quick programming, and let's hope this actually works. Oh no, that is not normal. Definitely not. Of course, I got a bunch of errors, way too many. So I had to go back and fix my code. And look at that, now the parallax background effect is working. Awesome. But this game isn't just a walking simulator, so I made it a bit more dangerous. I added acid, moving saw blades, and a spike cube. This is actually a new type of enemy. And yes, it's basically a cube that has spikes. Nice. So spike cubes are cool, but fireballs are even better. Of course, I started by doing some hardcore coding. Then I created a fireball. And I also gave it some awesome effects. And finally, I created this candle that spawns the fireballs. Because candles have fire on them, right? And the sound effects made everything a lot better. Awesome, I think the fireballs turned out pretty good. Now Bob has to avoid the fireballs on these moving platforms. Try not to fall off. Next up, I created these rotating objects, because rotation is awesome. I already used translational motion in a previous section, but this is the first time you'll encounter rotating objects. Oh, and if you haven't noticed, I really like saw blades, maybe a little too much. After my family playtested the game, it came to my attention that some noob gamers might think the game is too hard, while other pro gamers might think it's too easy. The solution is very simple. Difficulty settings. You have the option between easy, medium, and hard. Here's the same section but on easy mode. And here it is on hard mode. Nice. Hopefully this makes the game more accessible. Anyway, I really like this next part, because you're falling while trying to avoid all of these fireballs. Also, it turns out there's a more optimized way of spawning objects. Let me explain. Alright, so this is the candle. Right now, when it's time to spawn a new fireball, the game engine will focus all of its godlike powers to create the new fireball at the candle's location. And yes, this is a fireball, okay? Anyway, the fireball is going to keep moving until it hits a wall. Then it's going to explode. After that, the game engine will do its magic to destroy the fireball. This means a new fireball is created and destroyed every single time. But there's a better way of doing this, and it's called object pooling. Of course, I don't know what I'm doing, so I had to do some research. Yeah, lots of research. Okay, so this is how it works. As soon as the game starts, the game engine is going to create a bunch of fireballs. Then it's going to deactivate them and keep them on standby until they're needed. So now, when it's time for the candle to spawn a new fireball, it's going to take one from the pool of objects instead of creating a new fireball. And after the fireball explodes, instead of being destroyed, it'll be brought back to the pool. This is a lot better for performance because less objects are being created and destroyed. We're just reusing the same fireballs. So I created a new script. I called it Object Pooler. Then I did some intense programming. And there you go. It does the same thing as before, but more efficiently. Awesome. Alright, enough learning and more gaming. So I made these green platforms that teleport back and forth. Awesome, right? Now, you need to pace yourself to match the speed of the green platforms. Take this part, for example. If you want to move up, you have to time your jumps well. And yes, I know the sound the green platforms make is kind of annoying, but you'll get used to it. Trust me. This next part is much harder because the green platforms teleport back and forth a lot faster. If you want to survive, you need to synchronize your jumps to the rhythm. Or you could just play on easy mode. Whatever works for you. This part is also very difficult because you have to jump on the green platforms and avoid the fireballs. And when I said very difficult, I meant very difficult. I died many times. I actually had to make this part easier because I just couldn't complete it. Now there are less fireballs and they also move a bit slower. Nice. I'm sure Bob is a lot happier now. Of course, I kept building the map, and this definitely didn't take a few hours. So after you complete the fireball corridor, you'll find this switch. It's similar to a light switch, except it has code. Lots of code. Anyway, activating the switch will open up the passage. If you try to go right, you'll see that the path is blocked off from the other side. I'll explain why I did that later on. For now, you can take this elevator platform to go back up. Going left leads you to the first green platform section. But if you go right, you'll find something new. Red platforms. Instead of teleporting on a fixed time interval, they teleport every time you jump. This means you can't just jump around for no reason. You need to plan every jump carefully, but you can still move at your own pace because you control when the platforms teleport. This next part is also focused on red platforms, so I added a bunch of those. And of course, you can't forget the saw blades. It's like I always say, you can never have enough saw blades. Here's the part in action. It's not that difficult, but it's all about knowing when to jump or when not to jump. Also, I really like this next part. You have to run through this narrow passage with fireballs chasing after you. But remember, if you jump, the floor will disappear. It's all about speed, quick thinking, and of course, fireballs. Anyway, once you're done, you can head left, and then you'll find another switch. This passage leads you to the same spot you were in before. And yes, there is a reason for that. If you go down and keep heading right, you'll find this door. And like all doors, its only purpose is to prevent you from entering. You might have noticed already, but this door has a keyhole. You know what that means. You can use this key to unlock the door. You'll find the key near the part with all the fireballs. All you have to do is go down, and look at that. There it is, conveniently floating right in front of you. Nice. By using the key, you can open the door. Isn't that awesome? It's exactly the same as opening a door in real life. And guess what you'll find if you keep going? That's right, another door. Hey, remember this part? Well, you can actually find another key right before you enter the narrow passage. Awesome. With your key, you can now open the second door. This opens up a whole new section. By the way, the order in which you get the keys doesn't really matter. You could do the green platform part first, or the red platform part. In the end, you still need both keys to proceed. Anyway, in the next section, you'll find yellow platforms. These teleport every time you dash. Of course, I couldn't resist adding saw blades to the mix, because saw blades are awesome. Also, I'm sure you noticed, but all the platforms are pretty similar, apart from their color. Well, what about colorblind people? I'm not so sure how colorblindness works, but I assume the game would be really gray. This would make it almost impossible to tell what type of platform you're standing on. Well, I guess that's too bad. Sorry? Anyway, I like this next part because you have to use your dash to make the floor beneath you disappear. I think it's pretty cool. I also brought back acid because why not? You might have already noticed, but this section is similar to ones I've made before. I think it's interesting that these three sections have similar layouts, but play very differently. Cool. Anyway, this part is all about dashing to avoid the vertical platforms. Next, you'll find these candles that are upside down, which doesn't really make any sense, but yeah. Anyway, you have to synchronize yourself with this moving platform to avoid the fireballs. It's all about having the right timing. This section uses a similar concept, but this time, it's the yellow platforms that are blocking the fireballs. Awesome, but I think Bob is getting really tired, so it's time for a break. So after finishing those last few sections, you can open some shortcuts that communicate with previous sections. You can also go down this super long hole. Is it just me, or does it seem to go on forever? Finally, if you go right, you'll find this blue potion. But it's not just any potion, it's the levitation potion. Yeah, basically it gives you a double jump. Awesome, now Bob can jump a second time before touching the ground. Looks like he's having some fun. Well, I think it's time to wrap up this video. My game's development is taking slightly longer than expected, but it's okay because I'm making good progress. Of course, if you'd like to play the game, then head to the video description. As always, if you enjoyed this video, then you know what to do. Anyway, I'll see you in the next one. Bye.